Okay, well, the stream shut down unexpectedly. We apologize. I don't know what the hell's going on. Hopefully, it'll sustain. We've been having a lot of power outs on the computer itself lately. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what's going on with it, but anyway, hopefully we'll see. Now, are we back yet? Let's
Yeah.
see you check.
You're
Yeah,
back now.
is it good?
Mhm.
Go live. Check it out. Hi, everybody.
You're
We're
there.
trying to connect.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got some stuff to get into. Let's start rolling the hits. Um, by the way, X platform, I call it the X platform, Elon's X platform, going a little. It's on the Fritz. The For You feed is absolutely been a torrent of leftist bullshit. So something's flipped with the algorithm. I believe it's sabotage. I think there's a lot of liberal still hangers on floating around in various nooks and crannies. I think this is one of them. And so basically, it's the Krassenstein brothers. It's every Democrat representative. I mean, it's kind of fun because I just go insta block, call them a bunch of clowns. They're all crying over it. They think we care about, let's do this one. The Nobel Prize winner was announced today. Lovely lady in Venezuela. We'll start that as story. And I have no problem with her. I think it's a great selection. But folks, please understand, MAGA doesn't give a flying fuck about any award, whether it's the Oscar, whether it's Ellen DeGeneres winning the Medal of Freedom. What a great patriot that piece of shit is. And we don't care. Or the Emmy Awards, or this thing. These are awards that the globalists like to reward one another for selling their bleeding souls to hell. And so, like Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize within 3 months of his being elected president. I think he got it as a participation prize. They mean absolutely nothing. So I would rather have Trump, and Trump should be smart enough. It's like Lucy Van Pelt from the Charlie Brown holding the football, and Trump runs along trying to kick it, and then she swoops it out and goes, "Sorry,
Yeah.
Charlie Brown. Better luck next October." And so the whole thing's a joke. Trump shouldn't even mention it. But Trump he's got this tendency within himself to play nice. He's always placating, like the circus with Carney we saw. What a comedy that was. Oh, you're a great leader, Mark. Just love what you're doing with Canada, but, still doing what he wants to do. So the idiosyncratic Trump that he is, Trumpy Bear, that I love, is always going to be Trump. But I would rather, if I had my drathers, I'd rather him not even mention who gives a fuck, right? We just know it. These are prizes for stupid people rewarding themselves. There's a club. We're not in it. We don't want to be part of it. To be part of it, you'd have to deny Christ quicker than you could say Rip Van Winkle. Blake, your thoughts on the Nobel Prize? And some of the comments from the actual winner were quite nice. And there's some interesting things. One of the things she's going to do, before I turn it over, one last thing, is she wants to move the embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv for Venezuela, for moving from Tel Aviv and move it into Jerusalem. I think it's fantastic. Marty, we look forward to seeing you later today. I'm hoping we can get you when we do the Patreon show later today. Hopefully we can get you on. We love you, Marty. Okay, Blake, take it away. The Nobel Prize. What do you think? I just think
it's a joke. I mean, it's lost all of its integrity. It's just another a propaganda arm of the world elites who are just wanting to push their agenda. And quite frankly, I mean, what is it now? It doesn't represent what it used to be. And I think there was some, like a lot of things that have good intentions in the beginning and then go on that road to hell. You could see a Banting getting the award for helping diabetics with insulin. Now that makes sense. Like people who actually helped humanity for the better. And but now it's just a farm of people who are just self-grandizing their own political bent and their world aspirations. As you said, we're not part of that club. we are part of the receipts club. I would look at that. We want proof in the pudding. We don't like to give out gold stickers to people who don't earn it. And that's
Yeah.
basically what it is.
Yeah, I love that comment. And the whole thing is, Blake, that like those people that give out their word, they have nothing to do with us. We aren't them. In fact, they're antithetical to everything we believe. So why
Yeah.
would we want anything from them? Why should we? We should, in my opinion. So I wish Trump was a little smarter that way. It gives the left some talking points, but at the end of the day, it's just words and it's vanity upon vanity.
And they're going to hate him no matter what he did. Yeah. He could save humanity from cancer tomorrow, and there's no cancer anymore, and he would still not get it. They're that deranged, right?
Yeah.
Like that's exact. They're insane. Right. That's the problem.
Yeah. And of course, the talk about him getting in large measure, he's stopped 6 wars from happening. He likes to brag. That's the thing about him. Again, the idiosyncratic aspect about the guy. I'd be on the DL more, but that's Trump. You got to take that with the rest of it. Right. Yeah. But anyway,
but he's informing people at the same time.
Oh, I know, but you don't need to inform. Let your people do it. Let Marco, little Marco. Let him launch him out, wind up Marco and send him out there.
I think people talk about it way more if Trump does it and brags on it and makes it.
Oh, I know. He makes a big deal and it gets a lot of press. That's a hell of a lot of truth to that. That's right. The art of the deal, perhaps. Method to the madness, perhaps. Yeah, you're right about that. It certainly generates a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
It generates a lot of conversation. Anyway, okay, so we got that situation. Hamas, Israel. This is another thing that's going on. We're talking about XP on the Fritz. So I'm getting all these posts about, they're showing the land scorching of the Gaza by the Israeli. It's flattened, right? But how short is their memory? Or not? You don't even need a long, you don't even need a long ball memory to go back to World War II. Think of Leningrad, Stalingrad. Dresden, the fire bombings of Dresden, the bombing of Japan. And I'm not talking Nagasaki or Hiroshima. I'm talking just the carpet bombing by B-29 super fortresses flying over.
Lit up Tokyo on fire.
Fucking raising it to the bloody ground. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what war is. That's why Trump wants war to end. This is why we support the president's efforts to say no to war. But they conveniently miss out. A lot of these people that, it's against Zionism. I was joking with Blake backstage. I said, I'm thinking of becoming a Zionist, just because of all the kickback against Israel and all the retardation I'm seeing. They seem to forget October 7, 2023. You had hundreds of people. I think it went into the thousands number. Slaughtered by Hamas, unprovoked civilian casualties, but they just want to show their carpet bomb burned out Gaza. Fuck you is what I say. You show some perspective, and if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. The old saying, I believe Winston Churchill could have been somebody, but anyway. So Blake, thoughts on Gaza, Hamas, Israel? The whole thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's classic propaganda, fog of war kind of stuff going on in the world. And of course, one side is trying to, and I'm talking about the Palestinian side, with their allies around the world, which is a lot of them who are enemies of the West, have been wanting to portray this sort of evil empire that's Nazi Israel is trying to genocide the Palestinians. No, the Hamas, who has been funded by genocidal psychopathic entities in the world, have no interest in peace. Their whole speech the whole time has been to wipe Israel out of the map. I mean, that's essentially it. And so do the far left lunatics who have allied with them, and there are crazy clowns here in the streets that are doing the same thing. And let's call it for what it is. Hamas and their prior versions, because we've seen many of these terrorist type versions that never allow their own people to live freely. They live under a cloud of authoritarianism, and that authoritarianism means the people become part of the resistance, not just fighting, but their shields, their kids. Everything is taught to be homicidal. Their religion teaches this homicidal approach to how to fight for freedom is basically, your children become cannon fodder. You build your armaments beneath schools and beneath hospitals. You don't care. And I think we've seen footage where the Palestinian people are fed up with it, not so much fed up with with Israel, but more fed up with Hamas, who continues to create destruction. When Hamas, all they had to do is surrender. That was it. That was the ask. Turn over the hostages, end your fight, and go away for good. Nobody wants you. And you've seen but Hamas plays a heavy hand within Gaza, killing people who they turn on their own people all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the footage you don't see, where there's plenty of footage to be had through Palestinians who are showing you Hamas murdering their own people. And that's the insanity that happens over there. But yeah, it's the difficulty now is that you've got these far leftists that have allied themselves to this. So they're in it for the long haul now. So apparently, even if there's peace, our Hamas holes in the streets here of Canada and the US, whatever, want to continue to protest. Well, what sort of protest if there's peace? Okay, so what do you want after that? You just want river to the sea, no more Israelites. Let's call it for what it is. We know who the genocidal maniacs are. And if they ever had a weapon of mass destruction, you know who they would use it against. So this is infuriating. When you're seeing people, even on both sides we would consider both sides of the political spectrum, people even on our side that seem to have jumped in onto this, it's a conspiracy of Israel to do all these horrible things to draw the West into fighting more against it. We don't have to. We can see it with our own eyes. So yeah, there might be some things politically that are being done, but those are policy issues that we can argue about. But we're seeing this going on and on and on about these, scenarios where, these very interested states that want to see Israel removed because they don't want the West there. It's Crusader world. Let's call it for what it is. It's back to the Crusaders. That's kind of where we're at. We're like, okay, which powerful, influential religious group is going to be in the Middle East? And let's face it, Israel, if you look at it, why is Israel so important? Essentially, why is it so important it's a symbol. That's why. Yeah. It's a symbol. It's a symbol, not because it has incredible wealth of oil. We already know who owns all the oil, all the countries around Israel. Yeah. Right. Israel took what was, an area that was basically desolate and made it fertile, just like they did historically in the Bible. And the reemergence of Israel we know where the hatred comes from. It's a hatred of God. I mean, that's what it comes down to. There's a interest in the world that doesn't want to see the light of God standing in front of. Not saying Netanyahu is God. I'm not saying policies or certain governments are godlike. Some of them are just like every other political government. We can hate them or love them or hate them at that level, but it's not what it really represents.
Even in the Bible, you get your good Israel kings, bad king, and a good king came who followed in the ways of David, and then a bad king came who did not follow after his fathers and did the evil and the high places and all this sort of thing. Yeah. So we have a precedent for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look. Sue's brought something for our attention. Let's take a look. Breaking: pro-Palestinian Islamists have taken over the streets of Montreal. What? Despite the war being over, they say their work is not done. Well, let's not call the war over. Let's say that there is a ceasefire. There is initial steps toward peace. But anyway, despite the war being over, we'll allow his comment. They say their work is not done and the protests will continue. Speaking to Blake's point, it was never about Palestine. It's about destroying the West, and just some action of them. Intifada, Intifada. Intifada, Intifada. Intifada.
Oh, this is a polite video.
All right, so we see, the march and the usual suspects, the Palestinian flags, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, I mean, it's a reality in our world. And I understand it. I certainly tip the hat to your mentioning of the spiritual goings ons behind the scenes as well. Obviously, I'm sympathetic to that. In fact, beyond sympathetic, I'm empathetic to it, Blake. I feel the same way. All right, here we go. Scoozy's got another good one. Okay, what do we got here? Let's take a look at the comments. Okay, pro Hamas supporters blocked the road. A driver chose to drive. Well, I don't want to show that on YouTube. That they still have their things about it.
I just want to show how many people are blocking the road.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Nobody arrested. Nobody.
Yeah, in contrast to the trucker convoy. So this is the road they're blocking.
Attention! 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 Fils de pute! Fils de pute! Fils de pute!
Attacking they go after him. The cops pull him over too, and nothing, of course, to the protesters blocking the streets.
Well, yeah,
all over the place.
Okay, and so contrast that with the peaceful, which was admitted by the judge in the sentencing of Tamara.
The words were exactly honorable. That's what the judge said. Yet still got a sentence.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it's a kangaroo court, stupid, absolutely ridiculous. But the juxtaposition, the contrast between the two, and the state's handling of the trucker convoy and the pro-Palestinian, the Free Palestine movement, could not be more marked, more different in its execution.
Well, and who are the Palestinian protesters that we're seeing in the streets? Most of them are not Palestinians themselves. They're far left Marxist, black bloc, Antifa types, just changing their flag and their masks to represent the next chaos in the streets. And I think that's who these people really are. That's the problem.
Okay, Tamara Litch, speaking of the dear lady, is appealing both her conviction and the sentence per the Democracy Fund, who is supporting her legal efforts. It isn't over, not even close. The Crown's appeal is also sure to come. The Crown is going to want to appeal the sentence because they didn't get what they wanted. 7 years in jail for her, 8 years in jail for Chris Barber, and the removal of the guy's truck. This is a bold move on Tamara's part. I'm going to talk to you about it. The sentence is disproportionate and an unfit disgrace to Canada's justice system. I could not agree more. There she is, dear Tamara. I think she's Métis, she's part Native. I think if she had a larger DNA portion of her DNA, looking Native, if she looked more visibly Native, they would have had a harder time. The government would have had a harder time with this situation with her. She would, they'll have a harder time with me. Trans woman of color. I'm kind of hard to fuck with for them because I represent all.
They can throw me behind bars; they'll be happy.
You're in big trouble. I'm just, hurting trans-colored Indian people. Yeah. So anyway, it's just crazy. Okay, so Tamara Litch, your thoughts? I think it's a risky move. What do you think?
No, I think it's the next stage. I mean, we've seen you have to do this. They're going to have to appeal. It is a risky move. It always is a risk because you got to get in front of a different judge. That's what's going to happen because you go to an appeal, they don't take it to the same judge. They take it to an appeals court, which is a whole different judge. Appeals courts, here's what's scary about appeals courts. Appeals courts in Canada have a tendency to side with the government more than anybody else. So if you're suing the government and you lose in the regular courts to that, or if you win there, you're likely, you have to go to the appeals court. The appeals court has a high percentage of always siding with the government. Yeah. So it could be interesting. So then her next step after that would be, if it turned sideways, she would have to appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada, which much more visible, and maybe that's the intent. Let's drive it all the way to the top court of Canada to decide about if we do have human rights in Canada or not, because human rights in Canada is either anchored in stone or is it fluid based on the political parties in power at the time. So basically our rights are tied to your loyalty to the party or not. That is not right. That's a chaotic system destined for disaster. But I think Canada has been very clever as a country to give everybody in Canada a set of pretend rights. And those pretend rights, and as I say that because we live next door to America, which does have
Real rights,
constitutional,
yeah.
concrete, I would call it from the ground up constitution, where Canada came in at this level and we were legislated into existence by Britain. That's all it was. We didn't break away and say, no, we're creating our own country, our own foundation, our own constitution from the ground up. No, our laws start here from an act in Britain, which then the Constitution Act and the British North America Act is what's created Canada from Britain. But then the Constitution Act of 1982 was, again, they call it an act. They don't call it a constitution. They call it a Constitution Act, which means it's a law created within the structure we already have, a constitutional.
Yeah, and if it's an act, an act can always be undone by
repealed very easily through legislation. And that's the point about rights, why the difference between Tamara would understand in the States, she would have God-given rights, born with rights that no government can legislate against.
No.
Those you would say, well, we're secular, we can't believe in God. Well, it has nothing to do with, you don't have to believe in God. The point is that man, we've agreed that this is a set of rights that man has no right to take away from any other man, period. Or
woman, as the case
people kind, as Trudeau used to call us.
People kind.
But that's the point. Canada doesn't have rights that are based on the foundation that you are born with those rights and protected for eternity under those rights. And that's the difference between what she's facing is the mercy of the government using case law and going back to all the way if she wants to Magna Carta in England. She's going to have to throw everything in the kitchen sink out there to go after them.
So I got a little bit of a tandem story to throw out for the kids here. The first part of this story, this is absolutely brilliant. The government of British Columbia, Canada, ladies and gentlemen, has provided the death registrations of people dating. They update it every 20 years, every kind of 21 years. So 2005 now, generally in November of 2025, you're going to see the latest update. You're going to be able to see people that died, their death registration, the cause of death, et cetera, from extending from, I believe, like 1800 to all the way up to, 1825, something like this. All the way up to 2005, okay? Really handy. So what one of our people is doing, this guy got his job, he got fired from his job for being a denialist, saying that these native burials that they found, they didn't find any burials, they found some, seismic, when they take the radar, the ground seeking, penetrating radar, they ran it over and they found some anomalies, which could be sewage, drainage ditch, could be anything. And but they haven't dug. There hasn't been one found body, a child body. But the idea is it was painted for the Canadian public as a genocide, and it becomes the talking point. Now, our poor Native people, I love them. A lot of them are my cousins, believe me, man. I research them. I'm in there. A lot of them are on reservations. And, Sturgeon Lake Reserve, I have people out there. Turtle Island, I got cousins out there. I got them all over. And Kawasis First Nation, which gets a lot of coverage, actually. Kawasis Cree. So I'm a member of the Cree. But we have this situation where there's no bodies found. Now, this guy, I forget his name, but he's going around and he's using the government's own death registration. So they say, little Billy, he's one of the missing and murdered children on the reservation of the residential school. Wrong. Turns out Billy died in a plane crash, 200 miles away, but because he went to that school, but died later. It reminds me a lot of what they did with COVID. Toronto Health Authority did a quote tweet back in the days when it was Twitter. And it said, if you're involved in a motorcycle accident and we test your dead carcass and it turns out that you were infected with the COVID virus, we are going to treat your death as a COVID death, notwithstanding the fact that your head was 2 blocks away following
Yeah.
a head-on crash with a bus. You know, like that's it. So it's fudging the whole thing. So this guy, and much to his credit, I don't have his name, but he's doing a lot on this story, and every day he's throwing out more of these death registrations are publicly available.
Yeah.
And it clearly indicates they didn't die at the reservation school or the residential school. Nothing like that happened. Trouble with our, the First Nations. But
Yeah.
Blake, here's a tandem story to that, and then I'll let you comment. Let's go to New Zealand. They've got trouble. The natives are restless in New Zealand there as well. Can you do that one? It's right at, I believe it's top of the pops here. Natives are restless, I've entitled it. This is like what passes for Parliament in New Zealand. It's absolutely crazy. Try wrestling with somebody. You quite wonder if we're taking a step forward and two steps backward. RE civilization. Imagine thinking you can have a democracy when half the Parliament are third worlders. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Holy smokes!
Not that. The guarantee was that would not be taking place. The House is suspended.
Okay, so, what the fuck? So she's on the warpath. Quite frankly, when a chick does a haiku kind of thing, is that what it is? It's a haiku. It's a 5-stanza thing in Japan, and it's a little poem. But anyway, when you do your haiku, it makes a difference if you got some warrior there, dripped in blood, and he's got his spear ready to take you out. When he's sitting there and you're going, holy shit, there's 230 pounds of trouble right in front of me, as opposed to, what is she, 5'4", 130, soaking wet? Come on. So,
well, you know the background on what this was about?
Do we need to know the background?
Do we need to know?
About, colonization? What it could be, whatever. It's just nonsensical. And obviously you can't communicate because, you're doing this haiku thing, this war dance, the eyes are a bugging, and the idea is you're supposed to terrorize your opponent because you look like some sort of demented savage.
Well, she was obviously there standing up for the rights of Indigenous Australians.
Yeah. Well,
for some reason or another.
Yeah, well, no one could understand it. Can we have an interpreter here, please? Anyway, I guess they suspended the New Zealand Parliament over this
laws
thing.
got passed.
But, so your take, first on the residential British Columbia, no bodies found. And I think it's kind of genius that the guy's grabbing all the death certificates, finding the names on their memorial, cross-correlating with the actual death registrar, and then showing that these guys, their deaths had nothing to do with a residential.
Yes.
Yeah, it's genius to me. But anyway, go ahead, Blake.
No, you bang on. I mean, on this stuff, the truth is what we're supposed to operate under. So you go for the truth. The problem we have in our society now is that we've got this idea that the far left can continue to hurl whatever propaganda bullshit they want on the population to get some kind of policy driven through without. And then essentially, if you question it, then you're called names like a denier and all this kind of stuff that they create, tying it, of course, to Holocaust denialism. Of course, they've attributed that to climate denialism, and everything's denialism. But when you want to talk truth and talk facts, then they condemn you for bringing up the truth. And that's the problem. And it's, again, not driven specifically in most cases from Indigenous people themselves. It's being driven by far left activists to kind of promote an agenda where you're not allowed to question it. The funny thing is most of these far left activists are working for a globalist agenda that has authoritarian control over your economy and everything you do. Everything that they're trying to fight for is private rights, back to private property rights. They want to have control of their lands again. And yet they're allying themselves, maybe not knowing it. Those that are the ground troops don't know who they're really working for. But exactly this kind of situation, like we've seen in British Columbia, where they used a lie to become a massive funding arm to put hundreds of billions of dollars into people's pockets, stripping everyone else, the majority of their rights, because that's kind of the intent behind it. It's not to feel sorry for people who went to residential schools. It is to condemn the entire system, period. So it doesn't exist anymore. They want to change it all to what they want, which is this new social justice system that they've been trying to push through their Marxist ideologues. And again, another group of minority people are being used as a tool to achieve that. But yeah, people looking for the truth, it won't matter. This person will be able to list every name, found them all, and all this, and they will still condemn that person as being a right-wing fascist, whatever, and denier. And this is how they get people. Anybody who questions the validity of these without there's no facts. It's just all hyperbole pushed by a propagandist arm. And then anybody who questions it is condemned, canceled, and attacked personally and being called residential school deniers. And what they say about it, and here's where the spin comes in. When you challenge them, say, no, we're not denying that residential schools didn't exist. They did exist, and it happened. The problem we're having is you're saying all these people were murdered, executed, genocidal, murdered in these schools and buried in unmarked graves like Jews were in Nazi Germany, because that's what you're trying to say genocide is.
Mm-hmm.
You know for a fact that that's not been proven, and that there isn't a big record of any of that. So then they spin it to, well, you're just a denier of residential schools. That's how stupid these people are. And yet it's being used by the regime media and the regime state to, again, control people, meaning the majority, on how they think. It's part of that group think, control speech, restrict speech, and they're using it to do that, these kinds of things to do that, because they tie it to hate crimes and stuff like, which we're now facing, of course, in Canada. You and I might face it on Bill C8, where the Canadian government can arbitrarily cut you off the internet, cut you off from your phone, cut you off from all digital aspects that you connect to, for saying something like, I'm questioning where the bodies from the residential school in Kamloops. You could be cut off as a hate crime now once that bill passes.
Yeah, here's one of the interesting things, Blake. What is it that Elon's got his satellite thing? His Starlink.
Yeah.
Some guy up here in Canada was saying he bought Starlink or something. Now, if Starlink becomes available, I would far rather entrust my internet and my connectivity to Elon Musk than to Rogers Canada, which are so tied in. In fact, they would be up in America. Those guys would be up for an antitrust suit because they've got a monopoly on communications in Canada. They got a lock on. So Rogers is a big bad boy. I'm sure BlackRock and Vanguard and all those guys have got their money in it. And so it would not hesitate to remove you or me from their service. And right now, they're really the only player in town that will allow us. Here's the deal.
Because Canada doesn't control space, thank God.
Well, yeah. Well, and also they don't control Elon. So I think Elon would say, fuck you.
Yeah. I tweeted him asking him if he would defend Canadians that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a great question. He got so much that... I doubt if he responded, but boy, if he had, that would be great because his eyes on would be great. Okay, huge news. The Conservatives are able to block Bill C2 from passing. A huge win for the Conservatives and Canadians. A new bill protecting the border while also protecting our rights will be introduced on Friday. Conservatives blocked the Liberals' attack on civil liberties in the Bill C2. They wanted to open our mail, snoop on online activity. To do so, you will now require a warrant. I don't want to play it or anything. I'll let Blake do the heavy lifting on that. So Blake C2, what was Bill C2? Do you know that one? I know there's
No, I have to be honest. I have not been paying attention.
Okay,
to that.
so
that's
go.
the border security bill.
Oh,
So
okay.
they snuck all this stuff about being able to open your
surveillance,
mail,
yeah.
grab your phone and check everything for. I know they can do that anyway if you're under suspicion, but the checking your mail was something that they had added to the border bill. So they can go on there and just open up any
anything.
mail coming through. They can open up without a warrant.
Yeah.
Which of course was completely against our civil liberties. If you're not
Yeah.
under arrest or you're not under suspicion, they can still do it and there's no accountability. So that got blocked. So they had to start tabling and putting together a new border bill that didn't include that, which they're trying to put out, I guess, today, Friday. So
Gotcha. Well, I suspect this is like they've been saying. Carney's playing footsies with the, saying he's not bringing in a digital ID system, but this is where this is all headed because essentially you can say, well, this is unworkable. We need a digital ID system, and if the governments and the opposition parties block it because of civil liberties, they'll find a way to say, well, now we need this digital ID now so that we can properly manage our population security. They always hide this stuff under security. Bill C8, you'll notice they're all aligned with each other. The purpose is that the state now controls all aspect of your life. I mean, the fact that you have no rights, that's the scary side of it. When you see Bill C8 saying essentially very similar, we could just walk in. Bill C2, they're saying, yeah, if we can take your walk in and look at your computer and pull all your data. Well, we know for a while that the intelligence community have been able to access all of our data through NSA efforts. And, we all know the story of Snowden and all that stuff, revealing that information, that they've been hacking everybody's systems and seeing all those. And if you've been on Google has tracked everything you've done. They have access to all that. But the point is that what we're seeing in Canada is literally they can take it all away from you without a warrant, without a criminal charge.
No, you're just on 1 second and you're
gone. And Bill C8 also states that essentially, if you reveal this has happened to you, you can be charged for that too.
Yeah, well, and also fined up to $1 million or something.
Yeah, so if they strip you of your rights,
hey, the fuckers took my internet away. Yap. Oh, we're finding you for that.
You get additional. You could be charged, and they're saying you could spend life in prison.
Yeah,
life in prison for what they deem as hate speech. Right.
So how do we? Sorry. So go ahead, and then I want to go to Blake.
I just wanted to point out Rand Paul's been drawing some attention to Bill C8 up here in Canada.
Yeah.
And I posted in the chat. Of course, it's that bad.
Yeah.
It should be brought to the attention of the administration down in.
Rand Paul's Rand Paul. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Rand Paul. He's against the president on a number of issues. He runs a little interference. He's
still, when
a bit
senators
of a
are bringing up our Canadian laws,
it's always good. Any news is good news when it comes.
Well, he's a libertarian, 100%. He's he believes in libertarianism. That's his focus. So he doesn't believe that government should have the right to interfere without just cause, meaning the law.
Oh, he's all crying about us blowing up Venezuelan gunboats. And I say, fuck it.
Yeah.
I say boo-hoo. Speaking of boo-hoo, I got one here that I want to share with the children. I got my own boo-hoo. All the Dems are up in arms over Letitia James has been indicted. Okay. This is this absolute criminal piece of shit that's gone after Trump, charge after charge after charge. Running interference, left, right, and center, more left than anything on Trump. And so I just want to share the screen. My response to a weaponized DOJ, if Trump's and all these Dems are saying Pocahontas, the whole bunch of them, the usual suspect. This is my answer to all of that. Cry me a fucking river, okay? I don't give a shit. This is what you people did to Trump. And that's just some of the people. The list is actually a lot longer that they weaponized. We just learned that Jack Smith went and tapped Lindsey Graham's phone. He was taking, who's our guy?
Captured.
Cat Turd was also hacked by the government. They did these, what do they call them? The FISA warrants. They took them out on all these people, Congress people. The guy, Scavino, Dan Scavino was also targeted this way, and many, many others. An absolute abuse of law for law-abiding Congress people that they were spying on for their communications in order to try and get some sort of dirt on Trump. So cry me a fucking liver, river. You idiots talk about weaponizing lawfare, etc. Well, there's the president. You got his mugshot. You went and showed up at Roger Stone's place at 5 a.m, courtesy of CNN, to film the whole thing. Meanwhile, Comey went in a side door, guided by the DOJ. So what the fuck's going on there? No perp walk for that fucker. I tell you, man, the double standard runs deep, but justice is coming. We got Comey on the wire. He's got a crap judge. He's got a liberal judge. So they're going to have, but apparently I'm hearing they've got a lot more charges in the wing to throw at this guy. This is just the opening salvos of this whole thing. It's going to be relentless, and cry me a fucking river. You worry about lawfare. Well, talk to Jack Smith, that criminal, and all these mugshots that you fuckers took. And some of these people actually served jail time, not to mention the January 6 people that were framed up by your fraudulent FBI. Go to hell. Go to hell in a handbasket. All right, let's move on. Now, Sue, you got another one here? All right, let's take a look. Like, the stories are hitting fast and furious. Bam! Major break in New York Attorney General, the AG. Letitia James has just been indicted by a grand jury in federal bank fraud charges, per Reuters. Let's fucking go.
I wonder what the comment under there.
It's almost scary.
Oh
Boy.
There's a Christmas gift for your favorite lefty friends.
Letitia James, the action figure. Holy smokes. But yeah, she's a criminal. We know she is. And basically everything was projection. All the stuff that she was saying Trump was doing, in fact, she was the one doing it. It's the oldest game in the book. The Democrats play it very well. Hopefully, justice is, in fact, coming in that regard. Blake, thoughts on Letitia James, James Comey? These are just the opening salvos, I think, of what's going to be a protracted, drawn-out affair.
Yep.
That I believe is going to end up positively.
Well, especially, I hope so. And I really do hope.
I don't think there's an option.
Case.
There has to, or the Republic's dead.
I was just going to comment on that. Like,
all right, comment away.
What I mean, hope so, is that there will be sane people on the Democratic side that will say, "Yeah, we agree. This was wrong. We took advantage of the system. We used it as a political weapon against our adversaries politically.
Yeah.
And finally, let's put it to bed. But we still have to have justice, which means those that manipulated it and used it against others must face justice. Not this gaslighting crap. Like, oh, look at Trump's administration. MAGA's now on the revenge tour trying to get all these Dems in jail and using it against them. But it's not. These people were the perps. They're the perps. That's a big difference. When you're a perp, you're the one responsible for it, then you're the one who should go to jail. And I think I've said this before, they have laws on the books. If a cop lies about where there's a death penalty on a potential perpetrator who committed a murder, and there's a death penalty charge, and they lie and forge the evidence against them, that cop can actually face the death penalty. So that's the point. That you can't lie and create false allegations when you are in a position of authority to put people in jail and ruin their lives.
Yeah, and that's tyranny. It's tyranny.
So, exactly.
The definition of tyranny.
So this shouldn't be politicized at all anymore. This is just get the clowns who are in government, the deep staters, get them before justices, get them in jail if they are gone through the proper due process, because that is what justice is. There's due process with real juries, real judges that can look at the evidence and then put them away. And then start all over again. We're now fresh, clean it all up, and everybody agree moving forward that the Republic will stand based on its laws, not based on who wants to trump shit up and go after their political adversaries. You can't use IRS to go destroy your adversaries financially. You can't use the DOJ to put people in jail. They go after all these different people. Even they went after pretty much anybody who was tied to Trump. They wreaked havoc at all levels of government. Like I said, if they didn't get you in law to put you in jail, they went after you financially. Let's take millions of dollars in penalties via IRS.
Yeah,
they find a way they weaponized everything. And that's the problem. If you want justice and you want to protect your republic, you need to clean that up. All Americans need to clean that up and agree on that. I think it's going to be a while yet. Obviously, right now we're so early in the play. The Dems are doing defiantly resist. That's clearly what's happening. Lock arms, form a wall. Don't give an inch to Trump or the administration or anything. I don't think that defense is going to hold up for them. Things are moving along. President Trump has got so much power right now. And I don't think it's abuse of power. I believe it's an absolute exercise in justice. Okay, well, you're right.
Here we go. Eric Daughtry's great count here. Holy crap. New data confirms the media stations are giving 0 seconds of coverage to Virginia Democrat Attorney General candidate Jay Jones, saying he wants to shoot Republican officials and their children and urinate on their graves. ABC, CBS, PBS, NBC. NBC covered it for 63 seconds. This is a Main Street Democrat running for a major elected state office. They're complicit in political violence. Of course, we just had Charlie Kirk shot and killed. Virginia, do not vote for Jay Jones. Vote for Trump and vote Jason Myers. Okay, let's play the clip, see what we got.
All right, hang on one second.
Yeah, it's all patient. It's all good.
Okay, let's see what's going on.
Yeah, let's hear what Fox says.
In an off-year election, 63 seconds coverage on NBC, nothing on the other two big networks, nothing on PBS. It's like this never happened.
Well, that is not surprising in any way, because most of the corporate media view their job as existing to help out the Democrat Party with their campaigns. And so it happens on literally every issue, whether it's an actual race and a candidate that they're trying to help out. We know that if this were a Republican candidate, it would be leading every single news show, and every Republican official in America would be forced to ask about it. We now have a situation in the Democrat Party where there's open support for left-wing violence, and nobody's really getting asked hard questions.
Substantial race
in
an off-year election, 63 seconds coverage.
So that's self-explanatory. There's not much to do with that, Blake. I don't have anything to add myself. Anything for you?
I mean, what's to be expected from those networks? I mean, they are hard-coded regimers that have protected the deep state and have been involved with that for decades now, and they've progressively gotten worse. PBS shouldn't even be running news anyways. PBS should be simply so.
Okay, let's take a look at Antifa Canada. We got Ryan Gertson talking about Antifa Canada.
We got Trump talking about it.
Okay, well, let's go to the president first, because we love our president.
And how it could impact Canada too. It was pretty dramatic. They had the cabinet meeting. Trump with his, the DOJ, the FBI were there, and he had a round table. It was very interesting. Trump's not playing around. I think we're going to see the end of Antifa in our time as an effective paramilitary force, let's call it. Trump just classified anyone involved with Antifa in Canada and the rest of the world as being part of a terrorist group. Let's hear the president's words on this.
Are you going to work with your administration, as the Secretary of State's here, are you going to work with your administration to designate it a foreign terror organization?
You mean a terror?
Antifa?
Antifa?
A foreign terror organization.
Well, has that been done? Pretty close, right? Would you like to see it done?
Yes, Mr.
Do you
President.
think it would help?
They have foreign links
I'd be glad
all
to do
across
it. I
Western
think it's
Europe.
the kind of thing I'd like to do. If you'd like, does
Middle
everybody
East.
agree? If you agree, I agree. Let's get it done. Okay, let's get it done. Marco, we'll take care of it.
Mr. President.
That's international, you mean?
Yes.
International.
Yes, President.
Sounds good to me.
Foreign terror organization.
Steve, are you okay with it?
Yes, it's true. There are extensive foreign ties, and I think that would be a very valid step to take.
Good, I think so too.
Yes.
Good, I think it's a good point. Thank you.
Are you going to work with your administration?
Common
Okay.
sense administration.
Pardon me?
The administration using some common sense.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Well,
yeah. it's just-
considering up here, a lot of those pro-Palestinian protesters are Antifa.
Yeah.
I think it helps out trying to bring peace into the Middle East as well.
Yeah, there's overlap,
They're
and of
all
course, when you
interconnected.
hear the voices, I mean, like it was like you're in Istanbul or some fucking thing, you know, the way they're Karachi, you know, the way like when we were watching that protest, you know, it's all this shit, you know.
Yeah.
It ain't Canadian English. It ain't. Oh, geez, eh? Going to take a flag, eh? Going to run it down the street, eh? Oh, geez, I wish I could have a beer, eh, and a smoke. Okay, so anyway, it wasn't that weird, you know, it was all that nonsense. Blake, so what do you think? Good move, a logical move. What do you think? Effective move. What do you think?
Well, yeah, they'll be able to cut the heads off the snakes that are funding it. That's what they'll go after. And then the whole thing will collapse because they've got organizers that are paid.
Yeah.
They try to keep gaslighting everybody into believing they're fighting fascists when they are the fascists. They are the fascist organization. They're the ground shock troops working for, you know, the Democratic Party, the Liberal Party, the Socialists, the United Socialists. They are socialists. That's who primarily the black bloc people are. They're the far left who are really part of that whole. I mean, they are the fascists. They're the ones wearing the costumes, taking over the streets. What do they chant? It's our streets. They've taken over the streets like a gang.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And for them to say, well, we're not an actual organization. We are decentralized. We just, you know, somebody's organizing those meetings. Somebody's creating these safe houses. Somebody's organizing on that side. People are being funded. And that's the thing. They have to be funded. How can you do it day after day and not have somebody paying you to do it? I mean, that's the thing. What are you living off of? Welfare? I mean, welfare doesn't pay enough for you to do that every day. I mean, that's
somebody saw the signs. I think they were in France or somewhere, and they were the identical signs that were being used in like Hoboken. You know, I mean, it's identical, right? So clearly there's some communication.
Well, somebody's paying for them to be printed. Somebody's bussing them in to be organized there. But yeah, they're definitely a good, we need to go after that. They're not a legitimate protest group. That's what I'm saying. They're not naturally coming together.
Yeah, it's not an organic thing. There's a lot of money. It's political. There's a lot of organization.
And it's violent. It is violent. Nobody,
course,
for all these people say they're not violent. No, they're extremely violent.
Okay, next story. Holy crap, the Chinese Communist Party has a beachhead in Prince Edward Island. There is elite capture and corruption. What? According to these ex-finance cops, Prince Edward Island is being taken over by China. Bliss and Wisdom having already acquired over 17,000. And of course, Prince Edward Island is our smallest province. It's like Rhode Island.
Okay, before I play it, so the kind of backstory in this is a Chinese monastery.
Yeah.
That is a front for a huge money laundering operation in Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
They've been buying up land, flipping properties to get money to pay off government officials and to bribe people. And so they've been caught. We'll see.
Like a cancer cell. It literally is
just
like cancer. It turns its own body against itself.
But the Bliss and Wisdom is the monastery, so it's like, oh,
Bliss
you think
and
it's all
Wisdom.
these peaceful monks in
Master
there.
Bo, a blind monk
Exactly.
with a young Kwai Chang cane,
Let's hear what they have
learning
to say.
his kung fu. Okay, here we go.
Investigation came to us, and what we found was money laundering, corruption, and elite capture at the highest levels.
Bribery, bribing. Yeah.
During our investigation, we had some brave citizens, islanders from Prince Edward Island that came forward and provided a depth of information that would provide for a law enforcement agency sufficient grounds to launch a criminal investigation. The Master Jinyan, who came into the province, it is our belief from our investigation that he's tied directly back to the PLC, or the Communist Party in China. We were able to establish that the monastery has set up a network of corporations. And if you look at it from a point of view of money laundering, it's what you would anticipate finding in an organized crime network.
Okay, so I mean, he's going to go on for a while. Yeah. So it's a clusterfuck. Blake, thoughts on China? Obviously, they've done this in Australia. They've done it pretty much everywhere.
Well, they control our government in BC. I mean, it's Sam Cooper who's been exposing the CCP's corruption and connections and foreign influence in Canada, from everything from the highest levels of government in Canada, to provincial governments, money laundering schemes through casinos and through real estate deals. And we've been asking this for years, for these people to start naming names, but the government of Canada keeps blocking this information from being able to be released to Canada. And we even know that one of the named foreign influence leaders is our own premier here in British Columbia as well. So this is just a tip of the iceberg. I mean, PEI is tiny. It's in the middle of nowhere, really, for Canada as a whole. But, you know, it's a beautiful little island province with like 180,000 people. So, you know, this would be a little tiny smidgen of what these guys have been involved in Canada. Canada, we don't jokingly really say China. It really is China.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see that change because of that influence, and the fact that China is our biggest geopolitical threat in the world for both Canada and the United States. But we need to clean house. We need to get rid of the corrupted politicians, the corrupted bureaucrats, the corrupted educators in the universities that are tied to the CCP, because there is.
Yeah.
They've infiltrated our cultural institutions to change narrative as a propaganda for an inward fight inside our own countries versus doing it from the outside. So this is a well-known issue, and I'd suggest everybody who's interested on this topic. Fentanyl dealing has been coming in through China. It's the same kind of stuff. The triads are connected to the Chinese communists as well, the PRC. And I think it's time that we, stuff like this, let's open it wide open. That's the thing. You're talking about one issue in PEI that should be frontline news in any country, that your country's being manipulated by this massive communist empire that has designs on creating the fall of the Western empires, and that is the Western civilization as we know it today, and they want to take it over.
Yeah, it's like throwing a stone in the ocean, Blake. These stories come out, you hear about it. It should destroy the country or make it, full alert water. It's Watergate times 1,000, and nothing gets done about it. Absolutely sweet.
Yeah. People need to take it seriously. Like it's 1944, and we find out the Nazis are operating this in Canada. You need to treat it at the same level. These people, maybe we're trading with them, and maybe that was the stupid part. And that's why Trump is trying to create Fortress North America with Canada, with Mexico. He's anchoring in the economy so it's protected from the high control of China, to the point I think he's willing to walk away from Taiwan. I mean, he's telling Taiwan, I want 50% of chip production in the United States now because of that national threat. It's a national security threat that you can't produce your technology and your equipment for technology in your own country.
Go to Greg.
So, it's crazy. Canada's a mess. We're a few years behind the United States in getting our MAGA here.
Yeah, boy, oh boy, and it's so ingrained. We have 11 MPs that were identified as being corrupted, and at a minimum 11, and it just never went anywhere. We're going to end final note today's show, Blake, on a kind of a comedic note. This thing just cracks me up. There's a lot of talk about the transgender community and stuff. And a lot of these, they go, there's so many of these famous women that are connected to politicians, to celebrities that are like trans, like all the celebrity with their trans kids. Well, they're saying like a lot of them. And one that's come in for a lot of criticism is Chuck Schumer's wife. So we're going to take a look at the dear lady here. And I had some fun with this one. It goes, who does Chuck Schumer's wife resemble? Okay, there's a lovely lady right there. And so I had an idea. It certainly reminded me of something. She reminds me of my nephew, Greg. So you be the judge.
You should have inverted that image.
I could have turned him around the other way just so it's there. But,
It is Greg.
It's crazy. The similarity there going.
He's a sweetheart.
That can't be a real photo above, is it?
Yeah,
No.
that's really her. It's not doctor.
No, that is a guy.
No, it's really her.
It is not.
It's not doctor.
Woman.
That's her. That's really her. It's fantastic. Yeah,
Okay.
you got to check that one. You got to look for that. That's
It's not AI created. Are you
No.
sure?
no, it's before.
Okay,
That's
I don't
true.
know. I'll have
Yeah.
to look that up. That's
Yeah.
scary.
That's Mrs. Schumer. She cuts quite a figure into it.
Well,
Anyway,
Schumer could look like the Wicked Witch of the West if he wanted to.
without trying too hard. Well, anyway, everybody, thanks for joining us once again. Thumbs up on the program and subscribe. We do appreciate that too. We're going to be back on Tuesday with another rock and rolling show. Hope we got you on Tuesday, Blake. I always like to check in because he's traveling. He's got land claims. This kid's a panner, gold guy. He's an old miner. He's the old prospector.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm going to be out looking for gold here, Jake. Damn it. All right, everybody. Thank you, Blake, so much. Take care, everybody. I'm going to be back 4 o'clock today. Patreon closed viewing. You got to be a Patreon. $5 a month if you want to join Patreon. Before we go, I will throw that link out just for the kids that go, oh, but it's non-political for the most part. It's mostly music oriented. But if you want to support us, we do appreciate it, right? These great programs don't pay for themselves. There it is. Thanks so much. Bye for now. Peace and love. Bye.